On a first glance, my homeland island is such a beautiful place, but what people don't see is beneath it all there is a national disgrace. A sewage tank and many mass graves, the legacy of the interlinked institutions, with the manner they behaved and continue to. Really, it's such a horrible place. Babies and women disposed as waste, people targeted for their race, status, ethnicity, locked away to never see freedom until the day they died, never to live their lives due to the crimes the state and church collide. My nan's life was taken due to neglect. A doctor recommended hysterectomy, yet they didn't see the value in her life. Who cares for an unmarried traveller woman? They just wanted them out of sight and used institutions to make sure they were successful in their plight, of their cleansing of a community and ruining people's lives. They made my nan continue to work ill, yet filled her up with brain shock treatment and pills. 10 years on from a doctor's recommendation, she died of ovarian cancer. Then they dumped her in a mass grave with 72 other women after using her for 27 years in their oh so holy place as a slave. Stole her 3 children and beat them to make them fear their mothers and ethnicity. Oh, Ireland is such a beautiful country that they wouldn't let people be who they was and caused a massive disgrace. Locked them away for our family based on a commission targeting a race, and now they refuse to acknowledge their wrongs in the first place, let alone face the cover-up they create. My nan was left to continue to slave away in the Magdalene laundry until the day she died, but they still couldn't care one bit for these taken lives, as is why on the night of the Living Working Residents Apology 2013, they didn't even issue a minute's silence. Heartbreaking for my mum to be there and see, let alone seeing them do the right thing by giving an apology to all the lives they made go silent after using them for their clients and to their children, who was residents, who they brought back up to the laundries from the industrial schools to further physically and emotionally abuse. My mum was a baby resident at the laundry before being separated from her loving mum in the laundry car park, where holy statues overlooked at only the age of 2, which reports even confirmed how loving and how looked after all her kids was. They stelted, well nourished, no bruises. So why would they take her and her children? For those children to face a life of abuse to be used for financial gain. What remains in Ireland beneath all the beauty your eyes can see is so much hidden injustice and pain, and those who are corrupt was the ones given protection and was the ones to gain. After 5 years of my nan refusing to sign adoption papers while held captive in the laundry, part of their ploy was to get these women to sign papers to illegally adopt through emotional blackmail. These women and children was their toys. Their children was then made to visit the women in which they would beat into their fear. All my mum would ever hear is, "Your mum's a tramp, you're a dirty itinerant, your mum's a murderer, a thief," yet Gardaí reports showed she was none of what they said, but an innocent travelling woman whose family was targeted by the state instead. My homeland is such a beautiful place. What you don't see is even today they will arrest you if you just speak out of place. Standing with my family outside the door, we was there to demand a full investigation of my nan's release from the church and the state, as well they illegally took my nan's life. We cannot even move my nan from the neglected mass grave site, although prepared, but we need the order's permission who owns the land, the order who wouldn't even donate one flower to the 72 women in that ground, let alone keep it maintained or give us the permission. We need to finally have her freed out of their chains and a full investigation in place. The Religious Sisters of Charity, they cannot even face us. They haven't replied for many years, and the government go along with it as they have no fear. They allow them to treat survivors this way, which only heightens the pain, but they will never care, as the way they behaved and continue to treat survivors is a total disgrace. So with banners in hands, my mum, partner, brother, myself, my young baby in a pram appeared for our second peaceful protest on Irish land outside the Dáil. But this time there seemed to be a problem. "Across the road you must go, behind the gates," an officer shouted. I politely asked why, and he became aggressive. He was clearly a far cry from a good guy, but I just wanted an answer to my question, why it qualified for my family's suppression. But as I started to do, as I was told, although on a public walk road, he pushed me for my mum, a survivor, to see, all because I plead for my nan's release and for my mum and those alike to see justice. When I confronted him peacefully of his assault, I was told to shut up and go, or I'll be taken to the station in a paddy van, when he, the man in uniform, was the one at fault. My homeland island is such a beautiful place. What you don't see is what those they pushed on the edge of society face. Suicide attempts is a reoccurring thing. Our survivors, they are dying. Families are the ones left supporting, as when the state provided counselling services, it was provided by the church. It's also corrupt. Survivors are having enough of this cover-up, feeling angry and hurt as they slowly leak the truth to those out of view. When there is a floodgate left to open, which is being held shut by those in association with abuse. My homeland, it is so beautiful. But go deep within the Irish dirt and you will learn and you will see how beautiful Ireland has and truly continues to be. Mass graves broken, neglected, unseen, survivors with gagging orders, classism, racism, an acceptable tool to divide, so it's okay to displace people. Take their children, skip a generation or two of the tinker's life, neglect and torture them, put them in mass grave sites, as at the end of it all, who will be there to care? We need to make them efficient workers, so there's the supply there. So look past the beautiful green grass, the river so large, the Irish roads, its unique cobbled paths, and the good old Irish crack. And there's a cover-up so large that's waiting to burst through the cracks, hidden snubs of justice, a survivor and family locked out of the department with a letter in hand, not accepted by the heartless on our beautiful land. No one will listen. There is a lack of love for the Irish born on its ground. Those they abused, made them lose, thought they could destroy, but the women and children, they are no longer your toys.